when I was a little kid, a child, there was chaos in my family. But I'll never remember the table that we had in our kitchen. It was a raggedy table. But that table served as our desk. It served as our ironing board. It serves as our dining table to eat. It served as our art table. Sometimes when my brother was really bad, he'd put a sheet over the table and we'd play hide and go seek. And I remember carrying my son when I was about 17, and I was a high school dropout. And I said, I want to go to school. And I always knew I wanted to go to school. So I went ahead and I got my GED, and I applied to City College of New York on that rickety old table. About a year after I started City College, I'll never forget, I had a psychology professor who asked for us to write a paper. And what we needed to do was we needed to use a metaphor. I had no idea what a metaphor was, huh? So I sat and I said, boy, how long do I need to make this paper? And here's where I need your help. Every time I go like this, I need you guys to say, how long? Ready? How long? Outstanding. So whenever I do this, how long? Outstanding. We get that participation. Unbeknownst to me, that paper was a reflective paper. And what I had done was I had taken the story of that rickety old table. And on that paper, my psychology professor wrote, that table will hold your degree shortly. And how long before you make an impact? And I had that paper. Back then, we didn't have computers. It was on a typewriter, and that typewriter sat on that rickety old table. But I had that paper. I studied with City College of New York for 4 years. I was so close to graduating. Oh, my God, I was so close. What happened? I fell in love. I went overseas, and I worked for the Department of the Army. While at the Department of the Army, I decided I wasn't going to go back to school. But when I was unpacking in Germany, I opened up a box, and there was that paper. And there, hit me in my gut, and I said, okay, I've got to do this. So after we left Germany, we went to Texas, Fort Hood, Texas. There in Fort Hood, Texas, I was unpacking, and guess what? I unraveled that paper again, and I saw that message, and I said, I still don't have my degree. I got a call from my mom back in '96, and I went to visit her. I was at Fort Hood, Texas, and I went back home after not being in New York for many years. I think it was 5 years. And I went to the table. We still had the rickety old table, but now the legs were chewed off because we had dogs, or my mom had gotten some dogs. But we still had that table. And on that table, I saw an envelope. And on that envelope, it said my mom's name, and it said HIV/AIDS. I lost my mom before I was able to get my degree. But deep in my heart, I knew that impact that professor had on me back at City College was nagging at me. And before I got my degree, 3 terms. It was Reagan, Bush, and Clinton. That was a long time. Huh? So when people ask me how long did it take you to get your bachelor's degree, it was 12 years. It was a long time. But you guys also have stories. And my professor friends here, we hear them, we know that. As Brian suggested, I got my master's in 10 months, got it done. And in 2003, I enrolled in a doctorate program, unbeknownst to me that the School of Professional Studies was also starting an online program. That's just how things go. While I was defending my dissertation, I had a cohort, and he said, by the way, I teach for City College of New York's for CUNY, School of Professional Studies. And as I'm unpacking, I've opened my business. I've got a successful business with my husband, and I'm unpacking, and I see that paper again. And I said, I have to go back and I have to give, because that reflective exercise that that psychology professor made me do many years ago had an impact. And will it be before the certificate, the people who've gotten their certificates go on to get a bachelor's, those that have gone to get a bachelor's go on to get a master's, those that are getting a master's, Ms. Dorothy, go on to get a PhD, okay? Because if it's not now, when? If it's not here, where? And if it's not you, who? Thank you.